what I've been saying all along is, talking about our mindset and how we make affirmations work for us, okay? And largely, I've been saying that, I've worked with people who said to themselves, oh, this is not working. This is not working. Affirmation is not working for me. And I just want to talk about how we can use affirmations in ways that it is going to work for you. Okay, so considering the fact that whatever you're going to be achieving comes from inside out. Okay, if you can see it, then you can achieve it. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. And that's how affirmations actually work. Okay, so when people say, oh, affirmations don't work for me, it's because they're doing it wrong. They're not doing it the right way. And I said, if you wait till the end of the live, I am going to actually, give you a resource free that you can use to make this really work for you, to make this really do the magic that you want it to do. Okay, so as I said, why do affirmations not work? Affirmations don't work for many reasons. Affirmations don't work because people say these things and they don't believe it. The inner mind don't believe it. The reality, and there is so much contrast between what their reality is and what they're saying as affirmations. The bridge is so wide. I mean, the gap is so wide. You need to bridge that gap for you to believe what you're saying, for you to be able to take action, for you to be able to rewire your brain to believe what you're doing and what you're saying, okay? And that is how affirmations can actually work for you. So I'm going to take you through three-part model that's going to allow you to understand how affirmation works, okay? And the three-part model is just about when you're saying affirmations, when you're using them, you start with grounded affirmation. And what do I mean by grounded affirmations? Grounded affirmations are affirmations that are more believable to your mind, more believable to you. Affirmations that will make you believe and take action that you need to take. So that is the kind of affirmation that you want to engage in, that you want to start doing. So for example, instead of jumping, from a situation where you don't have as much money to, from let's say, okay, you don't have as much, you can barely cover, your everything that you want, to say, oh, I'm a millionaire. That is a gap afar. That is such a gap. And for your mind to believe that, there has to be something to help you to bridge that. And that is why you need to, rather than going from broke to I'm a millionaire, you have to be saying something like, I am becoming someone who manages money wisely. Okay, when you say I am becoming someone who manages money wisely, the tendency that when you then put that in context and repeat that, your brain will work with that because it will become familiar. I mean, it's a three-part thing. However, it will become more familiar to your brain to adapt to recognize than saying I'm a millionaire, and that is even out of context. Okay, so rather than saying that, so because when you say these phrases, when you say things like I am learning the skills to grow my income, or I am becoming someone who manages money wisely, these phrases tell your brain that it is a process. Okay, so as I was saying, when you start with grounded affirmation, the tendency that your brain begins to recognize that is very high, and that will make the affirmation work for you, because what those sort of phrases are doing is they're telling your brain that this is a process, okay, and they're telling your brain that this is possible, this can happen, and that it doesn't really contradict your reality. Okay, So it will be unrealistic to say, I am 100% confident in everything that I do as an affirmation. Okay, it's going to be very unrealistic. Rather than saying, I am 100% confident in everything that I do, why not say a grounding affirmation like, I am learning to trust myself more each day? Okay. So another unrealistic affirmation people may say is, I am widely successful as an entrepreneur. Rather than say that, why not say, I am building the habits and mindset of a successful entrepreneur, okay? And things like that begins to shape how your brain receives it, how your brain acts with it, okay? How your brain works with it, allowing you to take the action. Because the thing is, if you don't believe it, you can never take the action to make it happen. And affirmation doesn't work because you're saying something. Affirmations work because you say it, you believe it, you take action, you get results. That's how it works. Okay. So these bridge affirmations will meet you where you are when you say those, and not where you pretend to be. Okay. And that's why affirmations don't work for many people. So the second step is, now when you say these grounded affirmation, you can then pair them with micro action. Okay. So for example, when you say things like, I am becoming more wise in managing my money, or when you say things like, I am learning to treat my body with kindness and I am learning to treat my body with kindness and respect. Okay, I am learning to treat myself with kindness and respect. When you say affirmations like that, and then you pair that with a micro action. So for example, maybe you drink more water, maybe you take a walk every day, or you change your diet in a way, you change your lifestyle in a way that is kinder to your body. Okay, little actions that really connect with the affirmations that you do. So your brain begins to believe, you begin to believe, you begin to take that action, and what you do consistently is then to repeat that with context, and it becomes the results that you want. Okay, so for example, every affirmation should have, small matching behavior that allows you to make them come alive, because affirmations don't come alive without the behavior change. It doesn't come alive without you believing. It doesn't come alive without you identifying with what you're saying. So your identity has to change in line with the affirmation that you repeat every day. Okay, so for example, I am becoming disciplined. You could do, when you say things like that, you could set a micro action, for example, to say, I'm going to complete a task, usually one that you have been procrastinating on, within 10 minutes. Okay, so small actions like that that follow your affirmations gives you the results that you want. For example, you say, I am a woman who prioritizes our health. And then you can take, little action like maybe 5 minutes walk every day, 10 minutes walk, that sort of thing. Or I am learning to show up confidently online. And you begin, if it's one post a day, one post, every other day, that goes in line with the affirmation you're saying. Your brain begins to understand and see the proof. And when your brain begins to understand and see the proof of the affirmation that you are saying, it aligns. There is a connection. Okay, there is a connection. There is a bridge. There is a connection. And that allows you to continue to do it, and you say it in context and then take the action. And that is how affirmation really work. Okay, because yes, I've had a lot of people say, oh, these affirmations don't work, but that is how it works. You say affirmations, you say grounding affirmations. You don't say affirmations that is so far out of reach or without context, or the ones that really contradict your reality. Okay, So you say grounded affirmations. When you say grounded affirmations, you pair that with micro actions, and then you say that repeatedly. You say it repeatedly, it works because your brain has started seeing the signs. Your brain understand that it's a process. Your brain understand that you are on a journey. And that allows you to be able to achieve, to get the things that you affirm for yourself. Okay. So that is it. Most people, as I said, repeat affirmations floating in the air. What you want to do is you want to teach yourself that it is a process. They say it maybe when they're afraid or when they can't make decisions. Okay, and it doesn't really work that way. Okay, so I've set the processes that you're going to be using to ensure that these affirmations work for you. So let's say, for example, someone has low confidence, for example, and then the person begins with grounded affirmations such as, I'm learning to trust myself more. Okay, that is a grounding affirmation. I am learning to trust myself more. I am learning to trust myself again. And then you can pair that with an action. Maybe make one small decision today without having to ask 3 other people. Okay, and when you're able to do that, it rewires your brain that for real you are trusting yourself more. You are trusting yourself more rather than going from somebody who lacks confidence, rather than going from I'm confident to make the decision that I want to make. And then when you make that decision and it doesn't work for you, you feel deflated, definitely. And those are the reasons affirmations don't work. Okay, so say grounding affirmation, pair them with actions, micro actions, and then you repeat these affirmations with context. Okay, with context, for example, you repeat them before a meeting, before you make a decision, before you go online, before you do something, with context. Okay, with context, and that anchors the action that you're taking. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, and as I said, let me give you 10 affirmations to repeat that you can take with you into the new year to make all of those goals, aspirations, the things you want to achieve, to make them actually come true for you. Okay, so the 10 affirmations are: 1, I am allowed to want more for my life. I am allowed to want more for my life. I trust myself to take the next step. I trust myself to take the next step. I'm capable of learning what I don't yet know. I am capable of learning what I don't yet know. I no longer shrink to make others comfortable. I no longer shrink to make others comfortable. My dreams are valid even if others don't understand them. My dreams are valid even if others don't understand them. I release the fear of starting again. I release the fear of starting again. I am becoming a confident and consistent woman. I am becoming a confident and consistent man. You can say that, if you're a man. I am becoming a confident and consistent person. It just depends on how you want to take it. I deserve a life filled with freedom and fulfillment. I deserve a life filled with freedom and fulfillment. I'm building something future me will be proud of. I am building something future me will be proud of. Okay, so these are the 10 affirmations, and as I said, if you want them, you can send me a DM and I will send them to you, free as a resource pack. These and other resources, so it's in a pack, and it's just affirmations and journal guide that you can use getting into the new year. Okay, so that all of the goals that you've set for yourself, all of the beautiful things that you want to achieve, perhaps that you didn't achieve in 2025, you can begin to work from them. As I said, thoughts, thoughts of things and achieving anything, becoming whoever you want to become, start from inside of you before you see it. Okay, and because it starts from inside of you, when you affirm it and believe it and take the action, that is when it happens. Okay, and that's why I want to send this out, so that you can use them, affirm, believe, take action, and see the results that you always wanted to have. Okay, so from the affirmations that I read, if any of those hit home for you, I want you to just put yes in the comment section and tell me which one of the affirmations really hit home for you. Okay, so if you want to have the resource that I talked about, send me a DM and I will send that to you free. Thank you so much for joining my live today.